Mm-hmm. Hello.
Eh, oh,
Mm-hmm.
do not, do not, do not get me started on that fucking Cobra. Oh, God. Oh yeah. Uh,
There's my check.
Hang on. Right.
Okay. Gwyn, my microphone has been enabled. If you can hear me, type that you can hear me in the chat. Because I know Raiden and Lids can hear me.
Oh, we can hear you. I can hear you fine.
Okay, just waiting for her to say something. Sorry about this, folks. It's not SKL if there's not technical issues. Hang on. Sorry about this for the... Yep, she can hear us. Right, perfect, as we were. Just to reiterate, I have done a small written piece for the new He-Man and the Masters of the Universe series. A fresh take done right, unlike someone else we know, to Kevin Smith. Now, the only things I'll say about Revelation, amazing animation style. As Raiden has said on occasion, God tier level of animation. Voice acting, despite what we think about the writing and some of the actors' opinions, really, Buffy, I thought you were above that.
And Eric.
Yeah. Voice acting is amazing, with the exception of one. Kevin Conroy, I love you, but you couldn't go through this without phoning it in. It's like, I'm Batman. I'm reading the newspaper. Awesome Lydia is now the president of the United States. Oni Rakaku is now the CEO of a whiskey corporation, and Raiden has become the Raidinator. And he's like, ooh, hell yes. Come with me if you don't want to be slandered. Oh, I like that. Anyway, with regards to an article I've written that is simply titled He-Man Has the Power Once More. An existing concept with a fresh take, done right. After the woeful display from Masters of the Universe Revelation that left a bitter taste in fans' mouths from the point of writing, direction and pandering, Mattel Television and Netflix offer a second new He-Man series that actually has He-Man as the main central character. Gwen, just a heads up, let me know if you think the music's too loud. Okay, because I'm sort of hearing it in my end and it might be a little on the loud side, just saying. It's not your daddy's He-Man, and to be fair, I think given that it's been nearly 4 decades since the original series by Filmation, you have to update some aspects in order to make the show relevant. The basic DNA is still there, with Prince Adam taking on the mantle as the most powerful man in the universe. But like with the 2002 reboot, in close brackets, which was cancelled way too soon, I might add, we see him at the start of his time as He-Man, learning what it means to have these powers, and we slowly see him evolve as a rookie leader and embracing the responsibility of his powers. So basically Spider-Man if he had the powers of a demigod. Fan fiction writers do not get ideas.
Too late!
Too late. Slander. The characters I was impressed with the fresh takes, first of all, is Teela. She's a lot more quirky compared to her previous incarnations, and especially a lot more likable than Sarah Michelle Gellar's portrayal. With a lot of charisma, and I love her character style that I think might have been inspired by X-Men Storm. And I think it was a clever idea for her... Yeah. And I think it was a clever idea for her to be a sorceress right away, as opposed to what we've seen in the past, where she's revealed to be the daughter of the sorceress of Grayskull. But here they just cut to the chase, where she has powers and not waiting eons for it. And the fact that she's voiced by Kimberly Brooks, who some of you may know as the voice of Kathy Duquesne from Batman, Mystery of the Batwoman, just makes it even better.
And Laura from Voltron Legendary Defender.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, she says the music's not too loud. Okay. Gwyn, not a question. According to some of the transmissions, messages I get, they're saying the bit rate is too slow. Are we coming in too slow or too delayed? You know, let me know in the chat. Benjamin Diskin voices this generation's Skeletor, and there's a twist to this. He starts out as Keldor, as he did in the 2002 series, only this time he's Adam's uncle and Randor's brother. Once he becomes Skeletor, courtesy of the Havoc staff, how to describe it? Imagine if Alan... Go on.
I can't lie to you, and I think we had a conversation about this. This sounds serious to me, and honestly, this reminds me. Okay, this reminds me of the Lion King a little bit. Randor's Mufasa, and Keldor is basically Scar.
Yeah. Yeah, I could see that. Once he becomes Skeletor, courtesy of the Havoc staff, how to describe this? Imagine if Alan Oppenheimer and Mark Hamill did the fusion dance and formed this Skeletor. Total Hamopolis.
God.
He's fucking loving it. I am Skeletor, who's also your brother and uncle. And I'm like, okay, Ben, you're clearly enjoying this too much. Take a time out. I mean, or imagine this as full ham. Imagine if Oni did the fusion dance with Jim Cornette.
Oh God, no! No! Please do not wish that on any. I will wish that on my worst enemy. Oh God.
So instead of Cornette face, you get Oni face. And there's Lid's thinking, don't give him ideas. And last but not least, 2021's Cringer, voiced by Beast Wars alumni David Kay, who portrays the legendary Battle Cat with a lot of sass, class, and eloquence. This time Cringer is given his namesake because he refused to fight in the pit of Rakas, who later becomes Beastman, who also talks in third person. So imagine Victor Zsasz from Arkham Asylum speaking like The Rock.
Oh wow.
Yeah. Rakas doesn't know what to make of this. I'm like, okay, dude, the only one who can get away with that is The Rock and maybe, Cash Tankinson from the Batman. But to be fair, Patrick Warburton does it well, so we let him off on that one.
Of course.
He acts more of a mentor and surrogate father figure to Adam when the prince had been left abandoned out in the forest with amnesia, only being able to remember his name. The writing, pacing, character arcs, and evolution of the characters is very respectful to what has gone before, but is still making it fresh and relatable to a modern audience. The score is decent. It keeps the action driving and moments with no action very contemplative and tender where applicable. The animation is amazing. I love the lighting whenever someone or something is glowing. This works especially well for the transformation scenes and whenever Tila is using her magic to where her hands glow along with her eyes, which complements her white hair and outfit. Short end of this. If you can get past the fact that this is not exactly like the original series and its reboot in 2002, then it's safe to say that you'll enjoy this along with the new generation that get to hear this iconic line. By the power of Grayskull, He-Man has the power once more. And I await Season 2, and I will not be watching the second half of Revelation. Gwyn, I know you don't like cursing, but I'm going to say this one time. Kevin Smith, fuck you. Indeed. I am not watching that second half of that train wreck. You screwed the fans over. Screw you. I don't normally go there, but everything past the first half of that first episode was a slap in the face. I appreciate, whoever takes on, who becomes the custodian of a property, they're entitled to give their own interpretation. I get that. But don't disrespect what has gone before. Offer your own ideas, but respect what has laid the grounds before it. That'd be like... let's say Raiden comes up with a pseudo-anime series called The Slandering Samurai, where he's voiced by Chris Rock.
Yes.
And he's cutting these, like, really hardcore and brash, almost wrestling promos on people. And then someone comes along for season 2. All of a sudden, he's pandering, and they then replace him with the Slandering Samurai, who's now female and is played by, by Melissa McCarthy.
Oh God! Oh no! Oh God!
You see my point? Also, for anyone listening out in the audience, make Raiden the Slandering Samurai. Give him his own web animated series.
And it's animated like Samurai Jack.
Yes.
Slandering Samurai, Slandering Samurai, Slandering Samurai. You're all stupid. Kaiju, if you're listening, make a comic out of that. Please do. Raiden, I know you're only like maybe an episode or 2 into the new series of Masters of the Universe, but what's your hot take on that?
Honestly, okay, I did finish the first episode before we came on air, and I gotta say, man, I'm enjoying everything about it. Like, Tila, voiced by Kimberly Brooks, and let me just say, in real life, she is a looker. How you doing?
Mm-hmm. There she is.
Yeah, when I thought about Tila and when she did her whole magic stuff, she reminded me a little bit of Scarlet Witch from the MCU. I mean, remember?
Yeah, I could see that.
Remember, Elizabeth Olsen always does her hand motions, and it always turns red. So yeah, that's what it reminds me of. And I just love her. I just love her delivery. Like, it's just very snarky, very snarky, very adorable. Like, the way she is, it's a character I haven't seen since the 2002 version of Tila, which is like a little bratty, but does whatever it takes to help out Adam and all that, and also trying to find her own destiny. So that was cool.
Yeah,
I like the whole futuristic approach, especially when you get to the Tiger Tribe. It reminded me a little bit. It reminded me of half Wakanda, half Five Lands. So I definitely dug that. And Cringer, geez, wow. The fact that David Cage voiced him was half mind blowing, but we all know how much of a pro he is, and the fact that it was a very more regal than the one we saw in Beast Wars, which, I mean, no matter what, we're always gonna get that snarkiness out of him, but it was more heroic, more than just cold, ruthless, calculated, but still funny.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And so far, yeah, I think it was like, okay, yeah, I did finish first episode. Then I watched a little bit of the second episode, and so far, yeah, I like what they're doing with it so far. So probably after we're done, I'll definitely check more of it. And so far, it gets high rental fee. Like, it's the way they're doing the show. It's very cool. And I already know Adam and Tila were already young, but I really like how they made Duncan / Man at Arms young too. It reminds me a little bit of the 2012 Ninja Turtle series where April, Casey, and Karai were at the age of the teenagers. So yeah. I like that concept. Whoever's writing this stuff, it gets the stamp of approval for me. So yeah, you get a W for that. So can't wait to see what they do with it more. Also, you said your piece about Kevin Smith's revelation.
Oh no.
Kevin, I'm gonna need you to sit down. What you did to Tila was absolute bullshit. Come on, man. No disrespect to Sarah Michelle Gellar. She's already legendary on her own. You already know Liz is a dedicated Buffy fan, but god damn, did you make her that bitchy? Like, I Oh my god, it was every single fucking episode I wanted it to stop. And I'm like, she gets to the world where Adam is back, and like, I wanted to be mad at you so bad, but she was dead. And luckily, I finally made that meme, and when Adam said I died, she was like, "Oh, let me just make it more happy." The way I would do it is like, "Since I died, what more do you want from me?" Like,
no.
come on. Jesus.
Like, I wanted you to not be dead. Oh my god.
And the fact that you wanted to go out there without Adam with the sword absolutely shows like you had no growth after that shit. Even your own friend telling you you were going crazy. Oh my god, the shit I had to deal with watching that. But like I said before, I love the animations got here. I love how they made Orko a little badass. I love how what else though? Evil Lynn, voiced by Lena Headey, was my god, it was spot on. I liked her more than Jen Eric. So yeah, listen, MJ, I understand you don't want to watch the second half. A part of me doesn't want to either, but I don't know. Half the masochist in me want to see how this goes. So
I feel you.
Even though I might have to mute my damn stream when that first goes up. But yeah, Kevin, my man, I got respect. I always have respect for you, bro. But yeah, I'm gonna need you to hold this L on how you fucked up that show. Oh yeah. Oh man. Viewers. I have no idea how long I wanted to get my piece on that. Oh man.
I know.
And Liz, I haven't hated a female character more than Felicity from Arrow.
Damn.
Yeah. Oh god. You got me that pissed.
I do like one thing about Lena Headey's version. Is that one moment where she just says, and I don't think this was necessarily Evil Lynn saying this, I think this was Lena, she just goes, "Ah, oh, bollocks." I'm like, what?
Honestly, I think she's the reason that I want to see it more. Like, in the end, and I'm sorry if I'm one a little bit, but it's like, you can tell she's kind of forced to back being evil, because aside from that adventure, you could tell that she was having a little bit of fun in this adventure, just trying to save everything. But aside from that bullshit, from the new Masters of the Universe, like you said, so far I like it. I want to see more of it. I thought the animation would be jarring, but honestly, it definitely tied together, especially. One episode in is like so much character development right now, and I can't wait to see it develop. So I can't wait to see what
it does get better.
All right, cool. All right.
I will say, with regards to Lena Headey in real life, do you ever get the impression that's what when I say a not so buff version of Victoria when she was in WWE, does Lena remind you of what a slightly more streamlined of Victoria would look like?
Little, yeah.
If you dye her hair black. Okay, all right. Remember Dredd when she played Mama,
and when she played Sarah Connor.
Yes.
Yeah. That's that. I see it.
Because here's the thing. On unrelated note, I never knew up until I think it was this year. I didn't know that Victoria was Latina, because I just always.
Well, I think she's half Latina, half Native American.
Ah, okay.
Oh, okay.
That'll be something new for Oni to learn.
Just like Mickey James is.
See, I didn't know.
And I mean, Mickey James is half Native American.
Because I didn't know up until like a few years ago that Mickey James was Native American. Because,
well, there were times, especially on Cyber Sunday, where back in the day they had us male fans be voting like which Eva costume was better, and there's a couple of times Mickey James has won because she always dresses up as a Native American as tribal Native American woman.
All right.
So yeah, that's definitely effective.
Liz, have you seen the newest He-Man show, or is it not something you've caught up with yet?
I haven't actually caught up with it yet. Actually, Oni was looking through Netflix last night just so that we can decide what we can do for date night, and he's so like, "Oh, look at this!" I'm like, "Oh, if you're talking about that stupid show, I don't want to watch it." Like, no, there's another one. I'm like, "Wait, what?" Then I'm like, "Oh, okay."
If Win ever gets around to watching it, this will be right up her alley as well.
Oh yeah.
Especially the new Skeletor. Sweet lord. That boy's enjoying it way too much. Oh dear. Alright. Another written piece I'm going to move on to. And it is something we've covered before, but I think for the purpose of today, it's relevant. And that's simply this. Sunday, September 26, 1982, at 9 p.m. on NBC, unsuspecting audiences were witness to what would become a cult phenomenon. The late Glenn Larson, responsible for such shows as BJ and the Bear and Battlestar Galactica, put together his last contractual commitment to NBC with what he liked to describe as a modern-day version of The Lone Ranger. He saw Michael Knight as the Lone Ranger with Kit as Silver. I knew of this series as a kid, even seeing the pilot episode later titled Night of the Phoenix, which was rerun on May 6, 1991 on ITV. I only know this because I had been in hospital the previous day with 4 paper stitches after badly bruising my jaw when I fell off my bike and hitting the road, of which I actually went unconscious for 30 seconds.
Damn.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Damn, son.
Also fun, that's actually my birthday.
Oh, wow. And the pilot happened to be on that the next day, and I also recall having to drink from a cola from a straw. Yay! As someone with that kind of perception back then, I couldn't see the nuances nor the themes of the show. I just saw cool car chases and amazing stunts, which is something that kids enjoy. However, my perception and understanding of the show changed on Saturday, June 18th, 2005. I bought a copy of the Daily Star newspaper as they happened to be promoting their Retro Weekend campaign, which included a freebie DVD which included an episode of Miami Vice which dealt with homophobia, which was very controversial back in the 80s because it was hardly ever spoken about. The other was the Season 1 episode of Knight Rider in Trust Doesn't Rust that featured the first ever meeting between Kit and Carr, voiced by Peter Cullen of Transformers fame. I watched the episode from start to finish and I finally understood the themes, nuances, and what I believe is just as prevalent today as it was when the show first aired. One man can make a difference. I looked up to the character of Michael Knight, someone who had flaws but was also a figure that believed in doing the right thing and sticking up for the little guy. Beneath the brash, machismo bravado of what was considered a norm for guys in the 80s, was someone who would go to the extra length to help someone change their lives, or in the case of Season 3's Dead of Night, save someone's life despite his own life being on the line. When I finally saw the pilot in August of 2005, the episode was an extra feature, which to this day I find it weird since most pilot episode would be listed as the very first episode on the DVD playlist. But what would I know? The death of Wilton Knight is done with such grace, humility, and the sense of passing the torch from one generation to another. Even though he is slipping away, Wilton Knight is encouraging and spurring Michael to not live in fear and delivering this iconic line that any Knight Rider fans know today when talking about the pilot. One man can make a difference, and you are going to be that man. All three men in David Hasselhoff, the late Richard Basehart as Wilton, and the late Edward Mulhare as the elegant, charming, and sophisticated Devon Miles sell the emotion of that scene in spades. Richard for pouring the humility and vulnerability of a dying billionaire with one last gift to the world in encouraging a man who would take up the mantle of a knight. David for showing his vulnerability as Michael and not feeling like he was ready for what Wilton had envisioned, and Edward for selling his emotion as Devon with tears on cue as he bid goodbye to his longtime friend and employer. The score by Stu Phillips really added to the emotional weight to this scene as you witness the candle of a life being extinguished. And then we come to what many could argue as the real star of the show. The Knight Industries 2000, or KITT if you prefer. The 1982 third-generation Pontiac Firebird Trans Am had such clean and futuristic lines for an American muscle car that made it a perfect fit for the ultimate custom car. And considering that KITT was considered the car of the future, it made sense to have a car that looked like it came from there. And in a lot of ways, KITT was way ahead of his time with regards to the suggested technology at the time. What was thought as science fiction became science fact as the decades came and went. Cars now have built-in phone technology with hands-free function, the use of opening the trunk via the touch of a button, as KITT would have actuators in the trunk to open and close it as necessary, along with KITT being able to drive and open the driver and passenger doors, monitors built into the dashboard. Granted, most monitors in cars are connected to a rear view cam to have a clearer perspective, as well as looking into the rear view mirror adjacent to the windshield. And in recent years, Tesla have developed a car that can drive itself. Granted, it's not quite as sophisticated as KITT's automatic pilot, as Tesla's only programmed to avoid other cars, whereas KITT, if he so chose to, he could go off on his own adventures. So I'm hoping that someday someone will put the Tesla's tech into an 82 Trans Am and customize it as KITT, then it would be one step closer to having the real thing. Even to this day, the car still looks futuristic with said clean lines that it could blend in easily with cars of today. Mind you, most would argue that car design seems to be going for the retro look. If you look at the Mustang in the last 16 years, they opt for trying to have a lot of visual cues to Mustangs of the past, from rear lights to lines on the body. To me and many other fans, KITT remains the greatest TV car ever. It's basically James Bond's car with an actual personality, and given how bland some of the Daniel Craig movies have been, he coid use some of that. I apologize for nothing.
Well, the bright side is this is the movie No Time to Die. That's the last Daniel Craig James Bond movie.
Yay.
Yes! 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 Sorry, Craig, but you're a fine actor, but you're no James Bond. Fans that want to go to the ultimate length of dedication seek out third-generation Trans Ams that span from 1982 to 1991, study all the visual aesthetics that were used in KITT, and put the necessary components based on which season of dashboard KITT had at the time, as the car went through an evolution where his voice box changed from a blinking red light above the gull-wing steering wheel to 3 vertical bars that would reverberate whenever he would speak. That was down to changes that the late Robert Foster made when he took over running the show after Glenn Larson's 13-episode commitment had finished. It seems such a contrast with a strong and powerful car like the Trans Am. It is met with William Daniels voicing KITT with his prissy and pedantic nature, but it makes sense. When you have such a sophisticated artificial intelligence computer put into a car, it would speak with this eloquent and sophisticated tone. Even though Hasselhoff and Daniels were never in the same scene together, their chemistry was undeniable. David would shoot the scene with an off-screen script girl reading his lines, and then William would just record his lines later in the dubbing stage. And he would only spend 1 to 2 hours per week just recording his lines whilst he continued to work on his other series, Saint Elsewhere. If I had to describe the writing of the show, it would be cinematic. Every episode felt like a mini-movie with regards to pacing, editing, special effects, and stunts. One of the producers, Stephen A. D'Souza, who produced 20 episodes, would go on to produce movies like Commando, Judge Dredd, and the first 2 Die Hard movies. In a similar style to that of Batman the Animated Series, every episode felt like an experience. One I don't want to relive is Season 4's Voodoo Night. To give context, said episode is to Knight Rider fans to what The Last Night is for Transformer fans.
Oh damn, and y'all didn't know how you feel about Last Night.
Which adds more salt to the wound. Voodoo Night was not only the season finale, but the final episode of the series. Yeah. One aspect of the pilot that I don't think would be included if it were made today, Pamela Susan Shoop's character Maggie makes her first appearance as a waitress in the Rising Sun Bar, sporting a skirt and bikini.
Oh man.
Now, it was the 80s, people were less sensitive, but given that we live in the offended generation today where we can't go 1 minute without someone being offended, that group of people would have a field day with this. Despite that, the writing, cast performances, and action sequences still hold up. Here's to Knight Rider, 39 years young and strong. One man can make a difference. You can make a difference in your own life, and you can make a difference in someone else's life. And, as said, Knight Rider debuted on a Sunday. Gwyn has just said, I've been there, MJ, stitches aren't fun. Thankfully, the ones I had were paper stitches, so they would just fall off eventually, but I've had stitches put in before, where they've had to be taken out. I won't say where I had stitches, but I think I can say this and stay within the boundaries of the guidelines. I was a little nervous where the nurse was cutting the stitches out with the scissors, because keep in mind, even though these scissors are small, they're still considered a little on the sharp side, so we'll go no further than that.
Hey, listen, Glenn, you're lucky you got stitches somewhere. I have stitches inside of my eye still.
Oh!
Ooh, no.
Yeah, that's just to go to a cool quick tangent. I used to have a disease called keratoconus where I had instead of my left eye looking clear, my right eye had X-shape. So I had a corneal eye transplant at that time.
Damn.
So far, it was going well until I actually got hit in the eye, busted a stitch. That got fixed. Then, and it was like my corneals were cataracts fucked up, so I had to do a second one. And since then, it's been going well. Like every beginning of the year, I get those taken out, and my vision's gotten better. So, I mean, it's how you live with it. So, it's crazy that I can say I have stitches in my eye. So that's kind of a half badge of honor. So that's cool.
Right. Well, it's time for the first review back. And I think you had a feeling with what we were going to open up with.
Oh boy.
Let me know when you're ready.
Alright, hold on.
Alright, bear with me.
Oh good, I still got cola.
Oh, why is it marked as private? Won't let me watch it.
Same here.
Really? Let me just double... Hang on. Alright, try now.
Okay. There we go. Okay. Oh. It's that one.
Hold on, let me check. Let me fix this real quick. Oh. Shit.
You knew it was coming.
Yeah. I don't think it's that soon, but alright. Alright, I'm at 0.
I'm at
3,
0.
2, 1, play.
Age of AI is upon us. Time when the robots will rule. When they have taken Earth from us, we will remember what fools we were to program self-teaching. They taught themselves to adapt. Acceleration increases. Singularity happens so fast, so fast, so fast, so fast, so...
Trilogies. Very rarely do they work, as there are examples where they miss the mark. I think most people know my disdain for such movies like Iron Man 3, Ninja Turtles 3, and my most recent update for my thoughts on Jurassic Park 3, where the creativity was lackluster to abysmal. And the less we say about Spider-Man 3, the better. What she said. And that brings us to the long-awaited sequel to
The
Terminator
pain
2
is still
with
real.
2003's Terminator 3, Rise of the Machines. Will this sequel build upon what T2 had established, or will it simply crash and burn? Let's find out as we fire up the time circuit and go back to 2003. Like its predecessors, this movie keeps the pace consistent and the momentum rolling even when there's no action sequences. Very similar to how James Cameron established the premise with the original 19 years earlier, where Kyle Reese would give exposition whilst they were on the move, without having to derail the momentum. This latest T-800, played once more by Arnold Schwarzenegger, explains that you can stop Judgment Day all you want. It's like when your 30th birthday is on the horizon.
It's inevitable.
It's also interesting to see how John Connor has lived off the grid since his mother passed away. Whether this was the design of the writing to remove Sarah Connor from the story, or if Linda Hamilton just didn't want to do it. I'm inclined to think that it was the latter. Yes. And of course, this wouldn't be another Terminator movie if an infiltration unit wasn't sent into the past to try and scrub him out from existence. But because there were no records of him kept with him being off the grid, Skynet had to access records of his lieutenants as a means of flushing him out. The TX is basically the T-1000, but far more advanced and able to infect and take control of other machinery. She has the same shape-shifting capabilities of her predecessor, but does not appear to be completely liquid metal, and the first female Terminator, played by Kristana Loken. Whereas the previous T-800 acted like a surrogate father figure to John when he was a boy
her
back
career
in
didn't
the
exactly go
90s,
places.
This machine acts like the tough love figure by using reverse psychology as a means of firing John up through anger, when the future leader of
I slapped him
mankind
about
begins
like
to
a
question
bitch.
himself. This movie is bittersweet from the fan's perspective. While on one hand it was refreshing to see the protagonist unsuccessful in preventing Judgment Day, at the same time it was rehashing a lot of beats from previous movies, more so with T2. The Protector locates the protectees, battles the antagonist multiple times, then one final giant battle despite limitations. Now, whether this aspect was included just to keep some sense of continuity, or if the T-800 had been programmed to look in the overhead compartment for keys, is up for debate. But it was nice that little nugget was kept in. And as an action movie itself, it delivers on what you want from it. However, because this is living in the shadow of Terminator 2, it's still good, but it just falls short. And I think the reason for that is because James Cameron set the bar so high in what he achieved with Judgment
To be
Day
fair,
that it
he
was almost
did.
like he was saying to future directors, Now top that.
I've been saying for years that T2 should have been the end, but again, Hollywood doesn't want to let a good thing go.
Franchise is not going in
Oh,
with the
it
intent
also had a
to
pretty good
outdo what the
alternate ending,
predecessor
too.
had done, but instead make it the absolute best of what you have to work with. If you can make the quality of production, casting, and professionalism in your movie to what had been done previously, then absolutely. But let me preface this a minute. It's like trying to outdo the original rewatch of a Jurassic Park, Back to the Future, Iron Man, and in recent years, Sonic the Hedgehog. You have to keep the story natural and consistent for it to work. I got the impression when I saw this back in the day, this was essentially a fusion of his two performances from the previous movies. He's still the protector, but he has more of a ruthless, no-nonsense approach as opposed to how his character was written. Whether that was because he was protecting John as a child and he could be a little rougher with the adult version is something up for debate. You still get some humor from him, particularly when he tells the clerk to
talk to the hand.
Or when he puts the 1970s Elton John shades on, computing how ridiculous.
Okay, why?
Yeah, sunglasses? They should help to blend in. Oh no.
No! Oh no! No!
Whoever wore these must have thought Vista was a good idea. Oh! You are terminated. Riveting performances. Just look at her time on Blood Run, in which that movie was nominated. Wouldn't it be ironic if Vista was Skynet? However, she plays the part well in being an emotionless killer robot with a seductive look. Interesting thing to note is that the character didn't blink once.
Besides,
And
it's better than the performance in Blood Rain.
Oh my!
Yes, I am.
He didn't have the same natural charm of Eddie Furlong. Now, granted, Eddie was a kid when he made T2, but he was more likable than adult John. As an actor, I'd say Nick's okay. He's not terrible, I just think it would have made more sense had they gone
again, better than Christian Bale.
At least there would have been consistency. Fans
God.
also responded negatively to the change.
Yeah, I'll be
but
previewing
the
that
director
one
said
next
he wanted to
week.
start from scratch, saying
Oh, boy.
John would be a different character.
Oh no!
And
Oh, yeah. Oh,
couldn't
God,
have
Steve.
Eddie evolve his
Ah,
performance.
Steve.
Isn't that what an actor
I'm
does?
so sorry.
Act.
Yeah.
Furthermore, Eddie had signed on for the sequel in 2000, but had to be dropped from the project due to his substance abuse problems. I feel like Claire is almost the audience's participation as she gets caught up in the madness when she's essentially kidnapped by the Terminator in the beginning when he locks her in the back of her van, and then later reveals to her and John that she is not only John's second in command, but she is his future wife. Earl reprises his role from the first two movies as the psychiatrist that has studied both Kyle Reese and Sarah Connor. For his coffee break appearance, he brings in a good performance. The sheer look of fright and disbelief on his face when he sees the Terminator again is, "Aw, no, not this guy again." This was his last on-screen acting appearance before retiring just to focus on voice acting in television, radio, and video games. ILM and the late Stan Winston, arguably two of the biggest names in Hollywood for special and visual effects, respectively. Stan Winston had great props and robots built for the special effects, whilst ILM handled all the visual effects in post-production. Stan Winston even had robotic doubles of Arnold and Kristana, where it wouldn't be safe for them to perform scenes that had fire and explosions. His team even built a fully functioning T1 that was performed by hydraulics.
Holy shit.
Most of the visual effects are with the TX shape-shifting from person to person. One particular shot that required a lot of work to make it look seamless was Catherine's fiancé morphing into the TX. This was the result of repeated multiple camera movements that were the same for each take. That sounds like a similar method to what they did for Back to the Future Part 2 and 3, in which they had cameras track Michael J. Fox and Christopher Lloyd where they were required to perform dual roles. One shot I do like was a combination of Arnold's real body, props, and CG for the T-800's final scene as he defeated the TX by igniting his remaining hydrogen fuel cell in his chest cavity.
You are terminated.
Marco Beltrami took the lead for this picture's score. taking similar cues from fellow composer Brad Fiedel by making the scenes intense and providing a somber piece at the end as John Connor narrates the arrival of Judgment Day. What is a nice standout piece is when you get to the credits and Marco performs an orchestral version of Fiedel's Terminator theme, giving it a lot more depth and gravitas, making it sound larger and bolder than before. It's safe to say that the score is easily one of the more redeemable features of this flick. Rise of the Machines grossed a profit of $433.4 million off a budget of $188 million, which is substantially less than the $519.8 million that T2 produced, without inflation adjustment. Today, T3's take-home profit would be $624 million. While the movie was praised by fans and even James Cameron himself, the movie was considered a good B-movie compared to Terminator 2, which in a lot of fans' minds is the standard to beat. A sequel followed in 2009 with Terminator Salvation, with Christian Bale leading an all-new cast, taking the war into the future. Terminator 3 has been enjoyed on VHS, DVD, Blu-ray and 4K since 2003. I'm MJ Knight, and I'll be back. Maybe.
Ah! I'm the TX, of course.
Yes, God, yes, yes.
I had a bit of trouble getting this one rendered because I had to get it to think it was uploading to YouTube directly before it would actually save it. The story for that, Lids, do you remember when Big Battle clipped the scene where it goes, "Ruby, can you complete this for me?" Because Big Battle made me laugh, I said, right, that's it. I'm giving you a credit on the review.
I'm sure you'll appreciate that.
Because what it is, Oni was being Oni on Bioshock 2. And it was getting to a point where Liz would go and say, now he'll probably go and ask Ruby for help finding the map, and he goes, he's already making me do that, and then I just go, and then it says, hey Ruby, can you complete this for me? Oh, he goes, oh fuck off. Oh
God, Ruby suffers so much.
I know, but to be fair to him, he takes it in good humor.
He does.
But yeah, that's T3. That's T3's, review done as part of. Sean goes, T3 is still better than the other movies after this. I'm 50-50 on that. I like Genesis for what it tried to do. It tried to do like a sort of reimagining of the original timelines, like what would happen if it went in a different direction. And it's like, let's do Judgment Day again, lol. And I'm like, oh, for crying out loud, not again. That'd be like in a movie where it's like, hey, we could go off a new direction. It's like, or we could just go and mock Paul Feig again. It's just like yo, we've done that 4 times. Enough is enough. I don't even want to talk about the guy. It's like I say, T3, don't hate it. It's okay. But compared to T2, how to phrase this? It's like comparing the first Superman with Superman 4.
Ew.
Yeah. It's like, it's night and day. Or it'd be like, alright, here's something that anybody could sort of think. If you ask Oni to pick which one is better, Austin or Hogan, Austin. So yeah.
Is that even a question?
No. And then Austin even interviewed Hogan recently, and I'm like, this will be interesting. And apparently, Hogan was talking about, how he wanted to put Warrior over. I'm like, I wonder if he's saying this just because the microphone's on him, or... I mean, I don't know. For all I know, Hogan could have turned over a new leaf, and in other news, pigs might fly. Or other news, Raiden might walk up to the female Voldemort and say, "Hey, me, you, dance floor." I'd be like, "No, the fuck I won't."
Oh man.
Wynn just loved the review. She loved it. I'll give the usual questions because I'm not going to try and be too long-winded because, like I say, I'm on a stricter timeline because of, IRL commitments. What are your thoughts on T3, 18 years later, and thoughts on the review? Lids, we'll start with you.
Who are we starting with?
We're starting with you.
Oh, well, I kind of loved it. Again, T3's not my favorite. Again, slightly better than Salvation and leagues above Genesis and Dark Fate. I'm sorry, I don't like those last two. I really don't. But again, I'm still in the like I said earlier, I'm in the opinion of T2 should have been the end. Because again, the threat of Skynet was defeated, and the Terminators were all destroyed. So, what's the point? I can look at the opinion of the fact that technology still evolves, so we're always going to be the instruments of our own destruction. So, I guess it works, but I wish there was better writing in those movies. But again, beggars can't be choosers. So, I did like the review. It had a lot of good viewpoints, and it was actually really funny. So, did a good job.
Thank you. Well, as you say, we're the instruments of our own destruction, so either we're going to get done over by the Terminators, or somebody will recreate the Raptor and the T-Rex, and we'll all get taken out via slaughtering.
Well, there is a joke that is said in my D&D group where it's where the last words that will be uttered on this planet will be, "That worked." Oh, yeah.
Raiden, your thoughts?
Honestly, man, it's looking... man. Years and years. What were we talking about again? Last Machine?
Well, the last one was Dark Fate, but T3 was out in 2003.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I watched half the movie, and after that, I just turned it off. I could not watch the whole thing. And then I watched something. But yeah, Rousey was definitely the downfall of the Terminator franchise. Aside from the good, aka Sarah Connor Chronicles, which was canceled way too soon, but. Yeah. I don't have fond memories with this movie, so the review did was great. It definitely gave it the great detail on how much it just messed up everything. Oh yeah, great review, bleh of a movie.
Okay. going to post this article now, and this will be prevalent to one adorable one and one awesome one.
Oh. Oh, okay.
Dungeons and Dragons to introduce new social mechanic in upcoming book. D&D is building out the importance of social interactions in an upcoming campaign setting book. This weekend, Wizards of the Coast is hosting D&D Celebration, a streaming event featuring panels of D&D experts and previews of upcoming D&D books. Excuse me. Yesterday, Wizards of the Coast published a panel on Strixhaven, a curriculum of chaos, an upcoming D&D campaign setting. That book that details the magical college of Strixhaven. The panel revealed several new details about the book, including a tease at some new mechanics related to the social pillar of gameplay. During the panel, Strixhaven, a curriculum of chaos lead designer Amanda Hammond, discussed the role of extracurricular clubs and activities in a setting. Player characters can join up to 2 clubs for an extracurricular club and job that gives them the chance to interact with one of nearly 20 different NPCs. Oh dear. NPC means something else. As players build their just ask Noxus. As players build their relationship with these NPCs and spend time at their extracurricular activity, they can earn a student dice, a dice that players can add to certain skill checks associated with activity. For instance, participating in the live-action role-playing guild will give players a student dice that can be used on animal handling and performance checks, while joining the intramural Silk Bowl Club will reward players a student dice that can be used in athletics and intimidation. While the full rule set surrounding student dice and other social mechanics won't be revealed until the game is released in November, it's interesting that Wizards of the Coast is looking to flesh out optional rules to encourage the players to roleplay or gain mechanical benefits from engaging in social encounters. While Dungeons & Dragons has a robust combat system, the social aspects of the game rely heavily on role-playing and using checks to gain some sort of advantage in persuading an NPC or figuring out the truth behind veiled meanings or lies. This isn't necessarily a bad thing. Dungeons & Dragons is a role-playing game after all, but adding optional rules like this can make the game experience feel a bit more cohesive and provide players with more opportunities to use social encounters to build onto their other aspects of the game. Well, as the resident D&D participator, your thoughts?
I mean, it's an interesting way to spice up the game. It's like roleplay's it's just the half of what D&D is all about. No, well, again, not just D&D, but other role-playing games such as like Pathfinder, or I'm trying to think of other ones, but I've only played certain ones like Pathfinder and regular 5e. So it's an interesting way to spice up the game. So and it's it encourages role-playing, which I do appreciate. It's don't get me wrong, combat is fun. It's getting the sling spells and slice up people with whatever weapon of your choosing, but that's kind of fun. It's, again, like I said, way to spice up the game and give it new mechanics, and so to avoid the game from becoming stale, and I do appreciate that.
All right. I would ask Raiden for an opinion, but you're not really into roleplay, are you?
Half and half, not really, but for what it's worth, it sounds cool. I mean, in the future, I will get into D&D, but for now, it ain't for me.
That's fair.
Respect.
Right. For some reason, I asked to try and open up paint.net. I don't know quite why I asked my computer to do that. That's really strange. But because I'm on the clock, we're going to get to the second review, and the only person who knows who knew that I was doing this is Sir Stephen, and, well, you'll see in a moment when I post the link through. And apparently Paint.net is still taking its time. Will you just finish up already? It's distracting. Thank you. It'd be like if you're trying to watch a movie and, imagine if you've got like, like those glasses that you can wear where you get stock information in one corner and you've got a phone line connected to it and you tell it to sell stock. Imagine like only pop up in the window. Are we going to Subway yet? Are we going to Subway yet? Honey, go away!
Get out of here!
It's like, Raiden, are we going to go whiskey hunt? Boy, I ain't going whiskey hunt with you!
Oh my god.
Alrighty. And these two, this second one, well, this is actually going to be, I think this is going to be supposed to be the first review that's broken the deadlock since I've been out, but I don't think either of you were expecting this.
Ooh, this should be interesting. Oh, what?
Oh boy.
Yes!
I'm at 0.
I'm at 0 as well. This ought to be good.
Samesies.
Alrighty. In 3, 2, 1, play. Jim Carrey, arguably one of the icons of comedy. When you look back at his movie career, from his breakout role in Ace Ventura: Pet Detective to iconic roles such as The Mask, the Riddler in Batman Forever, and to Bruce Almighty, the man has a natural talent and is excellent at physical comedy. And in 1997, the world was witness to more of his comedy genius, but also one with a touching tale in Liar Liar. So, has this held up over time, or is this going to be taken to court for the crime of being outdated? Well, let's find out. If you're wondering why this sweat is glistening off my forehead, it was hot that night. What we have here is a tried and tested formula in storytelling in which a man betters himself by becoming a better person. It's this with a twist. Fletcher Reed, played by the legendary comic that is Jim Carrey, is essentially burdened by a wish from his 5-year young son Max that for one whole day he could not tell a lie. And of all the times for it to kick in as well. Ugh.
Is it good for you?
I've had better.
Oh no!
Oh no!
Whoa, time out here. I'm no expert on relationships, but I'm fairly sure you never ever, and the rock means ever, tell a hot woman that. It's one of those unwritten laws. You don't tug on Superman's cape, you don't reboot Ghostbusters, and you most certainly do not reboot Back to the Future.
Oh.
The movie sees the perspective from 3 people. Fletcher, his ex-wife Audrey, and their son Max. For Max, all he wanted was to not be disappointed by his father and his lies. Audrey, having to see Max's heartbroken face whenever his father failed to keep a promise, and the transition that Fletcher goes through in becoming an honest man being almost the antithesis of what he was at the start. Oh god! This movie may be cliché in storytelling, but when a character is in a completely different place from when they began, that's good storytelling. And it has to be said, folks, Fletcher's honesty does make for an endearing moment here.
Really? You mean you have to tell the truth?
Yes!
No matter what?
No matter what!
Is wrestling real?
In the Olympics, yes. On Channel 23, no.
Well, it's official. K-Fed died in 1997. And it does provide for some very amusing moments.
You know why I pulled you over?
Depends on how long you were following me.
What's your problem, schmuck? I'm an inconsiderate prick!
At least he was honest.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Wait for it.
Idiot! Wimp! Degenerate!
Oh!
She tells it like it is. Truth be told, she kind of asked for that. What I like about this picture is that it paints how important a promise is to your kid, and it's refreshing to see a movie with a happy ending. But then again, this was the pre-gritty realism era of movies. Oh, like that goes to say the S word, censors, This like, was the damn! Literally, Jim ruled the comedy
Oh,
scene
God.
from Ace Ventura And then to language, The Mask, knock Dumb it and Dumber off! to Batman Forever. His performance is flawless, whether as the crooked lawyer to the honest attorney. He does it with style.
What's your case?
Our case is simply this.
Okay, I don't care what anyone says. That was never in the script. Nope. Mora does well as the
No, that was
Fletcher
some good
introducing
improv.
the parent on the straight and narrow, as opposed to Fletcher, who was cheating on her while they were married. The figure of whom the movie centers around and giving his father the reason to make a turn for the better. I think most kids see their parents as their heroes, and when they see them disappointing them, it crushes their spirit. I think a lot of people can relate to Max's situation. Jennifer has that amazing husky voice that is just perfect for the less than
Kelly.
faithful Samantha Cole. And she really brings this character to life with how sleazy she is and how she tries to wrangle more money out of her soon-to-be ex-husband despite winning $11 million. This is arguably the weakest
crazy.
performance
Still
of
looks like
Audrey's
that.
current boyfriend. I can buy the American accent from him being a British actor. That ain't the problem. He's just given horrible direction to where he comes off as wooden. That's sad when you know he's done better, especially when he played Lord Arthur Holmwood in Bram Stoker's Dracula 5 years prior. The late Bernard plays a small but important role as the judge in the divorce of Mr. and Mrs. Cole. He comes across as composed, competent with authority. This was his last movie as he passed away from a heart attack shortly after filming had finished. The movie was dedicated to his memory. John Debney did the majority of this score, with James Newton Howard providing the theme. Debney provided the score to pictures such as Inspector Gadget, Cats and Dogs, and additional scores for Spider-Man 2. He's able to set the mood properly with applicable pieces for when Fletcher's feeling low,
Yo, Fletcher, how's it going?
Short, shriveled, and always to the left.
and to moments where he feels the homeless man's spare change for booze.
Need some change? Take everything! But it's not gonna make you happy!
Oh, that's nice.
The movie grossed a profit of $302.7 million against a budget of $45 million. When you adjust that to 2021 inflation, its takings today would be $497 million. It received positive reviews, including one from the late Roger Ebert, who gave the movie 3 out of 5 stars. Quote, "I am gradually developing a suspicion, or perhaps it is a fear, that Jim Carrey is growing on me." End quote. He had previously rated Dumb and Dumber and Ace Ventura: Pet Detective with less than flattering write-ups. It remains one of Jim Carrey's beloved pictures, up there with the likes of The Mask and Batman Forever. The movie has been enjoyed on VHS, DVD, and Blu-ray since 1997. I'm MJ Knight, and we went back to court for Liar Liar. What we have here with this form of storytelling is a formula that's pretty much tried and tested everywhere in how a man Yeah. What's up, Doc? I am Bugs Bunny, attorney at law. Rabbit, I am gonna take you to court. Ay, caramba. Well, it's official. Kayfabe was... Well, I'm going to cut a promo. The Rock says you're not going to cut a promo. I'm Danny Rikaku, and I don't like either of you. Oh, it gets better.
What would be the most awkward thing? Lids then comes out to Real American, so Lidomania would be running wild.
Oh no, Oni would kill me. Like, I'm doing this for your own good.
Brothers. The Lydia Stir is gonna go.
The
run
Lydia
wild.
Stir.
Oh no!
Tag team titles. Then I'm gonna pin her for the women's title, and then I'm gonna dump Ronda Rousey over the rope, advance to WrestleMania, and I'm gonna beat
I would actually like to do that.
Liz also sign up. What the actual ass? Oh, and then you have Win come out. Let's just call it what it is, folks. Win comes in and announces herself as the #1 contender, as Lena Inverse, goes in and destroys The Miz, becomes United States champion, and then Oni Rakaku shows up and says, Miz, I'm going to take the Intercontinental title, then I'm going to WrestleMania, I'm going to go beat Roman Reigns for the Universal title, then I'm going to go beat Bobby Lashley for the WWE title, and then I'm going to bring
For context, this was recorded before Biggie cashed in.
And there's only holding up the sign. Actually, I wouldn't mind that. Minus the cartoon joke. No, not happening. In the blue for that one, guys. The movie has been enjoyed since 1997 on VHS, DVD, and Blu-ray. I'm MJ Knight, and we went back to court for Liar Liar. I'm gonna beat Roman Reigns and do the Superman punch. I'm also gonna say suffering succotash and tater tots. Really? I like the fact that Roman winked to the crowd and says, yeah, these are crap.
That's right, I am.
Yeah.
Makes it long. That was hilarious.
That was pretty good.
What is... I was just looking around to do something a little bit different, so I thought, okay, when I come back in September after season 16's second hiatus, I thought, try something a little different, and for whatever reason, Liar Liar. It just sort of came to me, some of the jokes where he goes, is wrestling real? In the Olympics, yes. On Channel 23, no. And I'm like, well, it's official. Kayfabe died in 97. And when it got to the courtroom scene where you hear him say, knock it off, I thought, wait a minute, wouldn't it be funny if you used that right after Cap saying language?
Yes! It's like, knock it off!
Cap would be like, damn. Let's see, what have they thought? Nobody's come back since that, so I don't know if Win saw that just then, but no, again, it was something I was toying with because I started looking at what movies to review for next year as well, whilst also getting on with my usual commitments, because obviously I was finishing up the second phase of Broken Timelines, which means, unfortunately, Raiden, we will be having to go through Salvation next week.
The only thing I'm looking forward to is the Christian Bale. Well, good for you!
I'm actually going to go look for that in a bit.
Oh, man.
But, no, like I say, it's just something that struck a chord with me back in January after I streamed The Secret of My Success review, where Kaiju said, you know, if you could review some forgotten gems, and I consider Liar Liar to be one of Jim's better movies because it's not a huge special effects movie, say in the context of The Mask or Ace Ventura, Pet Detective, and Bruce Almighty to some degree, because there's a lot of visual effects and edits that go on in that. But with Liar Liar, it is somewhat of a fantasy movie, but it's done, with what's there. There's nothing, in special effects and what have you. And some of the stuff that he comes out with, like, "Wait, what's your problem, schmuck? I'm an inconsiderate prick." I'm like, oh, damn. I just thought, and this kaiju's like, well, after at least he was honest. Really, dude? I was tempted to sort of use the same clip again where, from the review of TMNT, where you hear him go, "Gosh dang it," whilst face palming, but I thought, nah, that works. That works just as fine. And that scene where he's in there roasting people, going, "Idiot, wimp, degenerate, sleeper." I was half tempted to get the clip from Friday where Smokey and Craig go, "Damn!" But I thought it sounded better coming from Raiden.
Yep.
But nah, had fun with that one, so yeah. Plus, it still gets me to this day, the fact that he said to Amanda Donahoe's character, is like, "I've had better." I was like, my first thought when I saw that, rewatching it for the first time in years, all I could hear in my head was Raiden reacting to Piccolo smashing up one of Mr. Pobo's. I was like, you motherfucker! It's like, you don't say that to a hot woman. No. I mean, alright, if we give an example to work with here, that'd be like, say, if Lid's got a date with Gina Carano, let's say for the sake of discussion. She goes, "How was it with you?" "I've had better." She's like, "Bitch, you get out of here right now." It's like, we don't have that kind of talk. And it's the fact that he sort of catches himself off guard. He goes, "I've had better." It's like,
oh no! I'm like, you don't do that.
It's like, I thought about including so many other bits and pieces where he would have said to his ex-wife, goes, after she'd say, goes, "Well, I hope it was really me," but "No, I don't really like her, but she's a partner. I thought I could help my career a lot by making her squeal."
Oh, Lord.
Because again, cannot tell a lie for 24 hours. Imagine if that happened to both Vince McMahon and Hulk Hogan.
Oh, dear Lord.
Imagine, like, "Vince McMahon, what is your thoughts on NXT under Triple H?" And he's like trying not to tell the truth. It's like, "Vince, were you taking steroids?" Oh, I don't know. Usual questions. Lid, your thoughts on Liar Liar, quarter of a century later, and obviously thoughts on the review.
I love Liar Liar. It's actually a really fun movie. I thoroughly enjoy it. It's just, again, I find it kind of his more subdued roles, if you get what I'm saying. Because, again, he's used to playing roles like Ace Ventura or, again, the Riddler. Like, that's him, like, completely eating the scenery, where this one seemed like he was actually trying to play a person. And, I mean, to be fair, telling a terrible person at first, where it's like, he can't not be, like, dishonest, and then he has to be honest when he's forced to, and it teaches him a lesson. And I do kind of like that he conveys that in the performance. And of course we get some of the typical Jim Carrey hijinks, but again, like I said, it's more subdued, because again, it doesn't feel like he's chewing the scenery, but nibbling on the scenery.
Yeah.
Just if you get, it's a fun movie, and you get joy out of it. One of my favorite scenes where you didn't discuss, where is he after he beats the crap out of himself in the bathroom, and he's starting to do it, and then some dude walks in, and he's all like, "What are you doing?" And he's like, "Kicking my ass. Do you mind?" It's actually one of my favorite scenes in the movie, and then he pulls it off, and until he has to tell the truth. It's all in all, it's a good movie, and I did like the review. It's you did hit some spots where it made sense and it was funny, and I did kind of enjoy that.
Raiden, same questions to you.
I mean, I like how your reviews are doing more different things instead of just the standard, franchise superhero movies. And yeah, man, anything Jim Carrey related, I'll definitely check out. 90s wise. I didn't watch a lot growing up, but I definitely remember him just calling out everybody. That shit had me down laughing one time. So yeah, this was really good, and I hope to see more videos like this in the future. So big up to you.
Well, for obvious reasons, I mean, I let the prick explicit slide because it doesn't quite have the same impact and vulgarity as it once did, but I felt by censoring the S word to describe his work colleague, I thought you might want to censor that just to be on the safe side. And you just popped up damn! I toyed with the idea, it's well, that's roasting I would be proud of, but I just thought, nah. Keep it short, keep it simple. And I only added in the knock it off part when I was doing the editing, because that was not in the original script when I was putting it together. But I remember sort of thinking, putting cap saying language because it's a good meme, but then Jim sort of turned and was knock it off! Because to some people, the joke would get a little bit irritating after a fashion, and I only ever bring it back sparingly because I don't want to try and do a of course thing, because that kind of wore out its welcome after a while. It's even to this day, I don't know how some people think this is funny. I'll go click on a link and I still get rickrolled, and I'm like, it's 2021, it's not funny anymore. It was funny during 2008, but a year later it's okay, but after if it's been done for more than 2 years, it's old. Occasionally my iPod does that to me, but that's just because it's on an auto-generated list where every once in a while it'll play, and I'm like, oh god, not again. I can reveal one particular review that's coming for Season 17. I won't be revealing this to the audience, but Raiden will be able to see it for himself.
Ooh!
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm going to be approaching one particular aspect, I don't want to say delicately, but I will be approaching it very, very tactfully, and Ray to be like, just give over here, I'll do it instead.
Yeah.
Oh no.
As you said, it's I don't talk about this shit's funny.
Yeah.
But for obvious reasons, I've just got a sign up say, nope, not touching that. Nope. The only thing else I can reveal is I'm going to be covering a particular big classic for next year as well, but you'll have to wait around springtime for that. Plus, I've still got a slew of other ones to get round, but one ridiculous problem at a time. But yeah, the majority of those done now. Let's see. What else is there to review? Christian. Oh, that's an interesting topic. Matt Hardy's had something to say about with regards to Edge.
Okay.
Hardy feels Edge would have signed with AEW if WWE hadn't cleared him. Edge shocked the world when he returned in the 2020 Royal Rumble, as he had been out of action since 2011 due to a neck injury. 9 years later, though, he was back in the ring and looking as good as ever, and since then he's been on a roll, delivering stellar matches against the likes of Orton, Rollins, Bryan, and Roman Reigns. He would even win the 2021 Royal Rumble, but it wasn't a sure thing that they would ever wrestle again. During an interview with MCW Pro Wrestling, Hardy was talking about having Sting come to AEW to end his career on his terms, and he mentioned Edge might have done the same if WWE hadn't cleared him. That was one of those things too. I think, like, if they hadn't cleared Edge and let him wrestle, he was going to end up in AEW, so they kind of had to go, oh well, if we don't want him to go, we got to let him have it his way. And it's one of those things where, I mean, I guess they're a publicly traded company and they have to answer to other people. They just don't really want to take unnecessary risk and feel like if you're a performer there, that sucks in some ways because you might not get the opportunities you really want. Many were surprised that Christian, who is a longtime friend and teammate of Edge's, they've completely forgotten about the fact they were brothers when they came in. I like how they gloss over that. Over the years in WWE, ended up signing with AEW not too long after Edge came back to WWE. Many assumed he would sign with WWE for one last run with Edge, as they had been frequent tag teams and allies over the years. Instead, Cage came out of retirement to join AEW and eventually defeated Kenny Omega for the Impact World title, a title he still holds. As for Edge, he won the Rumble this year and challenged Roman Reigns for the Universal title, but was ultimately defeated in a triple threat match with Daniel Bryan. Ironically, Bryan, back to his Bryan Danielson name, recently debuted for AEW All Out. Edge is a frequent star on SmackDown, even brought back his Brood persona at SummerSlam. That was awesome, by the way. But we'll have to wait and see if he stays there or heads over to Raw in the upcoming draft. Oh yeah, that's a thing again. I don't know. I could have seen him going over to AEW. It's possible, because we know there have been advances in medical science over the years, because, you know, we never thought Daniel Bryan would ever return to wrestling, but he did. Paige seems to be confident she will return, because she said, look, if Bryan can come back and if Edge can come back, there's always that chance I could come back. A lot of people are talking about AJ Lee possibly coming back. I don't think she will. And when I say this, I'm just talking about the objectivity of her situation. She's not as tall-statured as the rest of her alumni performers, and she's, when I say not as heavy, I mean that in the sense of muscle and athletic performance, because sometimes you have to put on a necessary amount of weight to be able to take the bumps and the bruises in the ring. You know, and this is why muscle fat weighs more than body fat. And because I think AJ's was roughly under 100 pounds before she retired, she's more susceptible to injury. And someone go, oh, you're discriminating for her size and weight. No, calling it like I see it. The smaller and lighter you are, the more susceptible and prone you are to injury. It's not discriminating, that's just fact. And as Ben Shapiro once said, facts don't care about your feelings. I don't agree with everything that guy says, but he does say a lot of things that make sense. Brayden, could you have seen Edge going over to AEW, or is it one of those things too difficult to call?
Honestly, for me, it's definitely too difficult to call. For what it's worth, Edge's comeback has been half good and half bad, especially, him losing matches a lot. But for what it's worth, at least he's happy doing what he loves. I can care less,
Fair enough. Lids, your thoughts?
I'm of two minds about that because I'm with Brayden. It's like Edge's return has kind of been hit and miss for me, but he's done fine. Just like they lately have kind of saddled him with Seth Rollins. Don't get me wrong, I'm not against Seth Rollins or anything like that, and they kind of technically have a history, considering the fact the whole setup of he almost broke Edge's neck and everything. I don't know. It's just it feels like they're just bringing him out so that they can have decent ratings. It's like, yeah, how about you write a better show, WWE, then we'll talk about your ratings.
Yeah.
Especially after what you did to NXT. Fuck and you.
How bad has it gotten?
It's called NXT 2.0.
Man.
If I'm not mistaken, NXT UK is not affected by this.
Technically, no, but it doesn't look good.
Vinny, I say this with the utmost respect and the utmost kindness. You've earned your place in a future Hall of Fame induction for your contributions to the wrestling business, to those careers you've helped launch: Hogan, Austin, Rock, Taker, Cena, and, the likes of Jericho, MVP, what have you, but you're not the Vince McMahon of the Attitude Era anymore. I say this as nicely as I can. Please retire. You're done. That's it. I will say, though, I've started watching a couple of episodes of Young Rock. The guy who they got to play Vince McMahon, mannerisms, cadence, and pitch in his voice, so on point, even down to the chin dimple. That's hardcore research. And the people they got to play the guy who was playing Randy Savage, he was having too much fun there. And the people that they got to play Rock at respective ages in his life, from when he was a 16-year-old teenager to when he was in university at Miami, they studied Rock carefully. And the guy they got as Soul Man Rocky Johnson, they must have studied those interviews and, match tapes hard. And I know we're not really supposed to mention Ric Flair because of things that have been said.
Mm-hmm.
The guy that they got to portray him in a match with Rocky, visually, you couldn't fault that, even down to the Prince Adam-esque like hair that he had in that clip. Although the idea of Ric Flair holding up the sword and then becoming He Flair.
No.
I'm not really going to give any comments with regards to what was said on Dark Side of the Ring. I think that's better left to a discussion by people who know, I would say the full ins and outs, but that could get taken out of context. So people who have a better understanding of what took place on that, which I think even Austin was on that flight home.
Was he?
Yeah.
I thought he was in a different flight.
It was, it was the flight from hell, because Flair Scott Hall, and a few others were on that because they were coming back from Insurrection 2002 from the UK. And Austin had gone up against the Big Show in that, and he wasn't even the main event. Instead, the main event was Triple H versus Taker because Hogan didn't want to fly out to the UK. Need more money, brother. And it's like, really, dude? I have stroke. I get things in my contract that no one else can get. Okay, does it say in your contract for you to be humble? I'm sorry, the Hulkster doesn't understand what that means. No, no, of course you wouldn't. Don't worry, little Hulkster. I'll get you in the ring one day. I only have to say this. Knee! Oh! Actually, that's a bit cruel. That's a bit cruel. No, sorry. I'll take that back. Put the other guy over! The Hulkster can't do that. The Hulkster's powers are failing. And Raiden's just like, dude, you're just embarrassing yourself there. It's like, Hogan, put the other guy over. I'm sorry, the Hulkster doesn't understand this. You lay down.
When he completely yells every time Charlotte Flair is in the ring, eat the pin! I'm like, no, she's not gonna do that, right?
Imagine like this. Charlotte, eat the pin! Or no triple payday at Thanksgiving. Triple payday? What? You know, like that sort of thing, like, you know, only like Mr. Burns would do something when he's like, hello. Oh no, why did I make Mr. Burns sound like L-Man Burns? Oh good lord.
Oh no.
No! Don't do that!
Yeah, I'm L-Man Montgomery Burns. Excellent. It's like, stop that. Stop that. Yeah, for once I'm not disgusting. No, but you'll get your chance. You'll get your chance as usual. Be interested to see what he plays later this week, because I only pop in. I only drop in on Tuesday and Wednesday nights because it's the only nights I get available. Because I can't very well do it at work. I'd be like, MJ, why are you talking into your phone when you're supposed to be working? I'm communicating with the computer. Yes, that'll do. Yeah, he was caught off guard because I'd actually bought bits for my Twitch channel, and I just sort of surprised him. It was like, drop 2 bits. He's like, wait, what the hell? You gave me 2 bits? To which then because the rule is on his Twitch stream, if you make a pun or a bad joke, you have to donate bits. That's just the rule. And Steven's the biggest contributor with over 5,000 bits.
Yep.
And I simply said, right, this now enables me to do this. Hulk Hogan, John Cena, only Rikaku merchandise. That's 20 bits.
Oh my god.
Steven there, he cuts more puns than he should be allowed to have, and one night he dropped in a little bit inebriated.
Oh no.
Oh god, yeah,
He came, he's like, hello there, guys. He's like, stop that. Stop that. Because Steve's usually very mellow, laid back, but to hear him like, I don't care what I'm going to do, is like, oh dear, we're in for one of those evenings.
I'd already known at that point he was gonna be like drunk because he said he was gonna go out with some friends, and it's like, oh, this is gonna end badly.
But no, it's all in the name of good fun, and because I subbed to Oni's channel, which is no big thing, it's only like small X amount of money for the next 3 months because it's September on Twitch, where it's discounted subs. Which the plus side is, if you get that, you don't have you can forego the commercials on there, which is always a good thing. I said, I'll sub, but you need to pick out a game that I choose. And he's like, oh, good lord. Because I think he would actually enjoy the 2008 Incredible Hulk game for the 360, but he then went and said, just on 360. It's like, yeah, but you've played 360 games on your stream before. But then he said it's like technicality issues. Like, okay. So I gave him a list of, I think, a couple of Need for Speed games and Jurassic World Evolution 2. Because I'd like to see what he would do with that. It's like, honey, why are you not building the fences? Because one of those workers to me is Jim Cornette, and he will suffer for what he did. And besides, this particular T-Rex is called Kitsune T-Rex. And you give this look like, honey, you're not helping.
I'm like, I'm going to ask questions, but I'm going to leave those questions somewhere else.
Well, keep in mind, most of the animals with the lone exceptions in the Lost World where you have the bull T-Rex and the infant T-Rex, all the Tyrannosaurs thus far have all been female. And also, here's the thing that people don't look into. Female dinosaurs were bigger because they had to nurture the eggs. And it said in some circles, some dinosaurs could maybe lay up to 6 to 12 eggs at a time. Which is probably why the velociraptors were able to breed like jackrabbits on Isla Sorna, because if you recall, in Jurassic Park 3, they wandered into that forest where there was at least half a dozen nests there. So it does make you wonder how many of those critters are on the island. And keep in mind, the animals were genetically engineered to go through a massive growth spurt. Because it's theorized that it would take about 15 to 20 years for the T-Rex to reach full height. Yeah, in Jurassic Park, Rexy was 5 years young, and she was fully grown. But that's the nature of what they did in that story. They wanted the animals, quick and disposable. Which, personally, I don't think is the way any business should be done, but in the novel, that theme park was not exactly done with the best of ethics. The less said what they did with Fallen Kingdom, the better. I mean, selling dinosaurs off for military applications? I didn't realize this was coming into an Earth-based version of Dino Riders. Which they're actually still trying to make a movie. And I'm just like, why?
I have so many questions.
Yeah, I as well. I don't know. A couple of more movies I can confirm for next year. Let me just go through my 17 list. Somewhere along the way, Kaiju and I are going to find a way to fit in what will be the 15th anniversary for the first Transformers movie. I'm finally going to get round to reviewing The Mask, because that was going to be reviewed this season, but then you know what happened to me in February. So, Space Jam will be done, and here's another one that's going to be coming its way. Hang on, find the right one.
Oh no!
And it's this line I'm gonna have to approach very delicately.
Oh, I'm scared.
awaiting Raiden's response for this. Yeah, it's gonna be another one of those situations where I'm gonna be like, I ain't touching that with a 10-foot flagpole.
Listen, back in the day, you know, that was the biggest trope. That was a one trope. Like, dude, like, okay, there was one scene in this very, very underrated movie, Evolution.
Oh yes.
It starred David Duchovny and Orlando Jones, like, and Duchovny carries a snag one, and Jones carries like, I've seen this movie, the black dude dies first, you snag it.
I mean, that trope has been around for like ever, like especially with the original Night of the Living Dead, where yes, you had an African American protagonist, but he dies at the end.
or the Parkers, where the character T, I think it was the Halloween episode, the character T is like, and Travis gets, hey T, check the I have seen all three Scream movies. Either there were no bugs or we didn't make it.
Oh my god, I should not be laughing at this.
Right, I'm gonna have to send this next one privately because I don't want Kaiju and Win seeing this one coming, but this will be on. Give me just a second, I'll send
Oh my god, no! Yes! Yes! I'm 100% behind that.
Man, oh lord. Oh dear lord.
Yeah. Recently sat down again with the movie because a lot of random clips and documentaries started popping up, and it's one of those things where I stumble onto this by accident and I feel something pulling on me in the same way that happened with Top Gun. Looking at the you know, when I did the 29th anniversary of the Ninja Turtles movie, and when random clips of the first Superman movie came, and I felt something pulling on me, and I'm like, why not? Because the only movies I'd ever reviewed of Superman, that guy really needs to stop being horn happy with his horn out there. Some guy just keeps pushing on his horn too often. It's like, dude, some of us are trying to focus. It's one thing if I go back to re-review something and do it with the knowledge, style, and experience that I've got now as a producer and as an editor, but it's when I haven't reviewed something. Actually, it's not completely true. I did watch this movie when it was re-released back in the day, but I did like how I used to do, you know, I do a snap review on site and what have you, but to be able to sit down and do this the way that I normally do now, it's going to be a challenge for me. But, you know, I'd never reviewed Superman properly before in the way that I've, you know, re-reviewed Jurassic Park when I went back to Jurassic Park 3 when I went to do the Back to the Future trilogy justice. It's one of those things where it's going to be challenging, but it's one that I welcome. And only because I think to this day, no one has ever really done a movie of Titanic the way James Cameron has done it. You know, I question some of the things he goes and says, because some people have accused him of arrogance and egotism over the years, to which I think he said something to Linda Hamilton at one stage, saying, do you ever think about the fact that, you know, your career will never get higher than you being married to me? And I'm like, ooh. I just looked at him and thought, don't know if I agree with that, Jim. Just saying. But no, season 17 is going to be very different, and I will show Raiden what else is coming for that year. Fine. Hang on. This is what else is coming, my dude.
Ooh. Okay, that's gonna be fun.
And for the Lydia stir, she's like, please don't call me that. So yeah, next year.
Okay.
Because next year's, as it says, it's the 20th anniversary next year. Fun fact. They originally delayed the release of the first Spider-Man bit because they thought Star Wars Episode 2 would give it trouble. I'm sorry, but Episode 2 would have nothing over the first Spidey. And from what I remember, Episode 2 was the worst of the prequels. Especially like the way George Lucas writes about romance. I'm like, dude, just stick to sci-fi. You can't write romance for shit. I don't like sand. It gets so rough and plain. I'm like, the fuck? I don't know. And let's not talk about the time when he was initially setting up a romance angle between Luke and Leia, and they find out they're siblings. Like, oh, nice. I don't know. Oni would probably be looking at it like, going, wait. I didn't realize we were doing rednecks in space. I would fully get at least a minor laugh out of it, but never mind. But no. What I'm going to be doing, because what I try to do now, with regards to review preparation, I tend to write out 2 reviews at a time within a week, and then when I go to do for the camera segments, if I've got a few of them to film, I'll film all, say 3 camera segments worth of reviews, get it all done there and then, so that's then dusted off, and I'm not getting behind like I was once before, because for all intents and purposes, season 16 should have finished up in May, but there was other stuff going on at the time, and here we are. So next year will be back to normal. 17 will finish up in May, and then season 18 will kick off in August, September, and then next year for Broken Timelines it'll be Genesis and Dark Fate.
Oh man.
I am not looking forward to watching that craptacular. And then I'll be actually no, for Ninja Turtles this November's it. Because it's the 2 Michael Bay movies this year. So November next year will be interesting because it'll either be like just a couple of random reviews or it'll be another themed month.
Ooh.
Yeah. Well, unless they do another Terminator movie, which, let's be real, if they're going to do another Terminator movie with Arnold, realistically they need to think about it within the next few years, because I go and say these things because it's not what they want to hear, but it's fact. Arnold's not getting any younger. I mean, the man is 73 now. So like I say, don't get me wrong, he's in great shape for a man his age, and considering he's had 2 heart bypass operations, which is an interesting story. When he had his first one in '99, he was told to rest and take it easy. Guess what was the first thing he did the day after his bypass operation? He got up on an exercise bike.
Oh, man.
Arnold, love ya. And I mean this with the deepest respect, but what the fuck were you thinking? I mean, and his first movie back was actually End of Days.
Oh, wow.
I don't go back to watch that movie very often because there are some scenes in there that creep me out. And Critic went and reviewed that movie, and he said a few things in there, and I'm like, that could come back to bite you one day. Yeah. I'm not going to go saying on air because, no. And also, whilst we're on the subject of Arnold impressions, that's why I added in the voice that goes, ooh, sunglasses, maybe this will help me to blend in. Whoever thought wearing these was a good idea must have thought Windows Vista was a good idea. You are terminated! And there's Raiden Holder signed up. Wouldn't it be ironic if Vista was Skynet?
Oh!
Because fuck Vista. That was one of the worst operating systems I've ever had the mispleasure of using. I mean, for those that are listening, if you were young enough to appreciate XP, why did they have to change from XP to Vista? XP was fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But no, and it's funny, my brother and I were going through Tesco's the other year. We're just walking up the frozen aisle, and we hear the Windows Vista thing pop, and it goes, wait a minute, was that Vista? On cue in 3, 2... And random, if you're listening to this later, you know what I mean. Not that he ever will, but you never know. You never know. But yeah. Yep. I think we're all pretty much done. I'm hoping Steve will be back next week, and hopefully Win will be back as well, because we missed the adorable one.
Also, he told me to save a certain fourth part of a series that I enjoy torturing you guys with.
Oh no! Please don't tell me it's what I think.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
How long is this one?
Alright, okay, if I remember correctly, let's see. Hold on.
Because if it's, say, 20 to 25 minutes, I can do that, because I gotta start thinking about getting ready for work in a little while.
Alright, this one's a little bit longer.
Define a little bit longer.
41 hours and 1 second. Hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
40. I think it's like 41 hours and 1 second. Maybe 40 minutes.
We'll have to save that for next week, because if it was 20 to 30 minutes, I would have been fine with it, man. But
that's what I said. See, yes, that's what I said. When Steve comes back, we'll see that one next week.
yeah, but yeah. So next week, the torture continues with Gotham High and Terminator 4 Salvation, also known as Raiden and Lydia's mental breakdown. Lydia, can I be the Oninator?
No, none of that. Shame on you.
Okay, fine. I'll be 00 Oni. Now let's go find my Aston Martin. Oni Rakaku is... And then Raiden just come up. There's like, Raiden comes in. Nick Fury, the younger years.
Oh, man.
You know, I've got an idea for like a gag reel if I ever go to review Shaft. The scene where he's in the limo with Christian Bale. What if you could turn that into a meme picture where Nick Fury is trying to recruit Bruce Wayne for the Avenger Initiative?
No, Lord.
It's like, Bruce, you think you're the only superhero out there? I'm here to recruit you for the Avenger Initiative. Because that's one of the very few times where Nick Fury and Bruce Wayne are within the same shot. I mean, obviously it's Samuel L. Jackson and Christian Bale, but the point still stands. And it has to be said, Samuel Jackson as Shaft nailed it. And here's the thing. That movie wasn't a reboot because when Richard Roundtree shows up, he's still called John Shaft, so it's effectively a continuation of the TV series and his movies. And there was another Shaft movie made where it was like Samuel L. Jackson's Shaft's nephew, but they tried to make it a comedy. It's like, okay, dramatic movies like Shaft have some great gags, but they're not comedic movies. I mean, that'd be like taking Terminator but injecting Inspector Gadget humor in there. Or, here's one that Lids can sort of relate to. That'd be like taking Buffy the Vampire Slayer but turning it into Scary Movie 7.
Oh, please don't do that ever. No.
Where instead of...
They're already... No.
Where instead of Sarah Michelle Gellar coming back as Buffy, they get Kate McKinnon instead.
Ah. Yo, don't do that. No, do not freaking make that come into fruition. No.
Or one that Raiden can relate to. They make a continuation of the Wesley Snipes Blade, but instead of Snipes playing Blade, it's Kevin Hart playing Blade.
Oh, no! 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 That'd be funny as hell, but no!
I have to say, I've missed this over the last 3 months.
Damn.
Granted, it's not doing this from my bedroom like it was at the old house, but I'm in my apartment within the lounge, and you guys have seen the setup I've got, including that one time I tortured Raiden with images of cookie dough pastry I had in the fridge. It's like, I hate you,
God.
dude.
Oh, man.
But no, I've missed doing this, and it'll be nice when Kaiju eventually gets back to San Diego. Then we can all just keep doing this again from where we picked up. And I'm not having to keep my voice down so low because it's at a point in the evening where, one, people are still up and about, and I don't have to have like a audible curfew at home because obviously Random no longer lives here. Well, not living here, but he no longer lives with me. And as I said on, I think it was Tuesday night, I said on Twitch, just a quick shout out. Happy birthday to Random. Because he had his birthday the other day. So, yeah. It's been an interesting week, and from what I've seen, alright, we don't have the usual people in, but I did advertise on my YouTube channel where it says upcoming live streams. It is there for people to see. I've done all the advertising, and provided I can work out and understand how everything works, I'm giving some consideration in the future about possibly moving the show to Twitch. But like I say, I'm thinking about it. Nothing's set in stone yet. Because Oni got me thinking. Because he's making a nice little bit of money on the side with what he's doing. And considering bits can be converted into cash provided you're an affiliate, what I'm thinking of doing is, if there's no issues with regards to what I normally do this side, because he goes and says don't play certain music tracks otherwise you get DMCA'd, which he's very wary about. Provided I'm still able to live stream reviews from there as well, I don't know, it could work out. Because without going into specific details, because obviously Oni doesn't want specific information of how much money he makes over there. Does he make sort of enough small little bits just to make small cash on the side? But
sorry, I missed the question. What was it?
So without going into specific sensitive information, because obviously Oni wouldn't want specific financial information blurted out, does he make reasonable amount on there to say make quick small petty cash?
I would say he does. He does know how to manage his money well, and that was before he had a regular job, so he knows how to manage his money pretty well.
Yeah, because as we found out, bits can go towards payouts on there, so...
Oh god, yeah. It's the subs and bits he got this month, he's definitely gonna make a decent chunk of change.
So, like I say, I'm giving it some thought, because I don't know what Twitch's rules are like with, streaming, reviews over there, because I'm not going to make the jump and then find out, nope, you can't do this, you can't do this, you can't do that. So, yeah, it's just about looking what is expected. And, if I go to, one of their people and say, hey, if I wanted to stream this review during a live stream, would I be able to do it? And if they come back and say, yes, you can do this, you can do this, then it's well, okay, it's a no-brainer. But
yeah, just the best you can do is just be careful right now.
Yeah, I know with certain things you can't use certain music over there. Although I've never heard of anyone clamping down on Double Toasted for what they stream, because they stream official clips from movies over there. So So you
I think they've been trying to lay off of that as of late, because I've noticed that. They, like, show, like, basically small clips, and then they just talk about the other thing. I think that's, again, I think they don't do that as much except with their, like, views of really terrible movies.
Oh, Lord.
I saw them doing the roast of Surf Ninjas. Oh my gosh, I'm glad I never watched that back in the day. That thing looked awful.
Yeah, I've watched it. Yeah, that. Oh boy.
And
that was bad.
And that awkward scene where Leslie Nielsen was grabbing a you know what, and it was on camera showing suggestive imagery, and even like Reyes Jr. is just like, that look on his face, that wasn't acting. He's just like, dude, what the fuck are you doing? And yeah, I'm amazed that a lot of that stuff got away with being a kids movie, considering was it Maina 1 that was in that movie as like the love interest of one of the protagonists? She was supposed to be like really young, even though she was like 20.
Oh, you mean I think I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. I think it's one thing if you get, say, someone at 27 playing 19 to 22, but when it was kind of suggested she might have been 15, 16, it's like, oh no.
Yeah.
And apparently, I don't know how official this piece of information is, so take this with a grain of sand, but apparently the story was retconned for Aladdin, where Aladdin's supposed to be 18 and Jasmine's 15. I'm like, no.
Yeah, nah, bro.
It's one of those things where if it was, say for the sake of discussion, Aladdin's 25 and Jasmine's 19, well, no one cares.
Yeah, that's true.
But because like well below 18 is like, no,
yeah.
Just no. I mean, I know there are different cultures and different rules. Hey Jaguar, I know there are different cultures and different rules, but from a modern perspective, it's looked at with a little bit of a dim view. That's all we'll say, because no. Mind you, I'd like to see Disney actually do a proper traditional animated movie again, but their last one was The Princess and the Frog, and I will say, for the record, highly underrated.
Oh, most definitely.
Considering, who was it that played the female protagonist?
Anika Rose.
Yeah, really liked her. Not just as a voice actress, but as a singer. Beautiful voice. And plus, you get John Goodman. John Goodman's always good for the win. But yeah, I don't know why they had to re-abandon, traditional animated movies, because they were fine. But CG's cheaper. Not always. I think when you do like highly detailed projects like, say, Castlevania, and as much as we, belittle Masters of the Universe Revelations, animation-wise, that's the best He-Man's ever looked. But, animation don't mean anything if there's not a decent story to go with it. Yeah. that'll do it for this week. I'd like to say outright, for those that were expecting this to be going at 9 p.m. UK time today, I'm afraid you're going to be bitterly disappointed. It's not a case of I didn't want to. It's a case of I was not able. I've got new schedules and restrictions that I sadly have to adhere to now. The only way this will ever go back to the 9 p.m. slot here in the UK is if one of the following happens. I get a lottery win off of Set for Life, Euro Millions or regular lottery, which means I'd be able to, quit my usual employment and just live off that and continue doing this because I enjoy making videos with my friends and, engaging with my audience. Or I start getting paid for what I do. I might consider going back over to Twitch and doing a weekly or fortnightly thing in the early hours of the morning and play on games I'm interested in. So we'll just have to wait and see, because I think there is something to be had, and I've been doing this for 14 years. I'm not going to stop. I love what I do too much. There are some people that say, oh, video game will never lead to a career. Tell that to the people who are pro gamers on Twitch. They make a lot of nice, comfortable livings as a result. Because theoretically, if they so chose to, AJ Styles and Zelina Vega could live off of their Twitch careers if they wanted to. I think it's bullshit that WWE forced them not to use their WWE names on there, even though with some of them, those are actually their real names, or names they were known by in other wrestling promotions, which means WWE have no contractual, say over them. Because I think, because AJ Styles has been AJ for at least the better part of 15 to 20 years before he came over to WWE in 2016. So he was there for a good while. And Sean's just saying right there, and those who make games as well. So, and heck, if Oni finds his right niche, who's to say in, let's say, 2 years from now, he has 1,000 subscribers and he gets on average 500 bits a night. He will be laughing all the way to the bank. He'll go, "Dearest Madam Kitsune, I am buying you a Rolex for your birthday."
I don't do watches, but again, I will happily take a Rolex.
And one kind of a thing that I'm doing as a bit of a side gag, I don't know if Oni's picked up on this. I've kind of made a running gag character where he's got a cousin known as Manuel Brokaku, who's trying to become the first senator of McDonald's in South Carolina.
Oh no!
Oh lord.
I am Dr. Manuel Brokaku, and I am running to become senator of McDonald's in South Carolina, and if elected, I will give out a treble Big Mac to the 51st customer with treble whiskey dipped sauce cheese in them.
Oh lord.
And I'd be sort of like, if Raider would be in there, I'd be like, that sounds disgusting, yet interesting.
I know.
Because the rule is on his Twitch, I'm not allowed to use the Cartman impressions.
No.
However, I'm allowed to use them in the bloopers.
No, god damn it.
Well, that's why if he ever sees this stuff for Liar Liar, where, I'm doing the stuff with him, it's like, I'm Eddie Rikaku and I don't like either of you. But then again, you should just be grateful that I never got that Cartman hat when I was doing the bloopers for Terminator 1.
Oh lord.
No.
Although, Raider would have been like, can you do it for a future one? I didn't see that. Yes, I didn't see that. I just still love it when I hear from Liz after I said, and now I can picture Oni Rakaku auditioning for the role of Kyle Reese. Why? I could be Kyle Reese if I wanted to.
Please don't.
No, you're right. No one wants to see me come through the time portal as Kyle is. Like, no, definitely nobody wants to see the hat.
I would respectfully disagree, but again, that's a
I'm
different
talking
reason.
about people
Everybody else.
in general.
Yeah, fair enough.
What you see with him for your eyes only.
Exactly.
No more than that. Yeah. Well, that's why I had him at either as, as Carl or as the Snackinator, which I could see him wearing, the badass 80s shades with the leather jacket. Excuse me, Snackinator, you can't eat anymore. Fuck you, asshole. It was always felt like a moment and an event in most 80s Schwarzenegger movies, like with Running Man. I forget exactly what this antagonist was saying to him, and then Schwarzenegger in character just goes, "Fuck you." I will say though, the first Terminator was probably the most he sounded robotic, because whenever you would hear him say "I'll be back" or "I'm back" in future sequels, he wasn't sounding necessarily so robotic, whereas he says the line "I'll be back," where it's sounding as it's supposed to be, monotone and robotic, yet you notice in future sequels it sounds as a person would do. But then again, it might just been a direction Cameron gave him. And he said something to the effect of, shouldn't it be "I will return"? He goes, "I don't criticize your acting, don't criticize my writing." Now on the one hand that sounds bitchy, but he's absolutely right. It's like, I wrote the script, you do your acting. But I like the fact with Cameron, he sticks very much to the script, and he believes in what he's doing, because one of my buddies who goes by the handle Hayakane says, if you can take a visual or a scene to be put into a movie, and you take that scene from your head and put it onto film or put it onto digital film, and it comes out exactly as the way you envisioned it, you're an artist. I can't paint with paint, or be able to, chisel stone and what have you. But I will have an image in my head of how I want, and if I can do that with words and do that with photographs and film, I suppose in some ways that can make me an artist. I mean, I don't know. That's not for me to say.
Mm-hmm.
And Raiden is the master of art of slandering.
Yes, sir.
And Lydia is the artist of being awesome.
That's me.
Yep. Alright folks, that'll do it. Went a little bit longer than expected, which is true to form of SKL. But yeah, the shows are going to be shorter than what they were before, and considering how the shows were when they first started in 2017 to that one infamous show where it went on for 8 hours.
Oh god.
Ooh.
2 words. Never again. And on that note, thank you for tuning in to the season premiere. Until next time, I have been MJ Knight saying good night from the night.
Be back, baby.